Billionaire's Substitute Ex-Wife Returns by Michaela Gates. Chapter 3. Sienna. You will receive the divorce papers later this afternoon. His words rang in my ears even after he was gone. I rolled on the bathroom door with my back and sat down, crying. It felt as if I could not breathe and my whole body was weak. I closed my eyes and hoped that when I opened them, this would be nothing but a dream. But when I opened them, I realized that this was real. My husband finally confessed that he never loved me. This was my greatest fear all the years that we were married because he never even once professed his love for me. Even though he did everything for me so that I did not need to work a day in my life. I thought that if I remained faithful and loving to him, he was going to be able to love me back and see me as his wife. I dreamed of the day he would look into my eyes and tell me how much he loved me. I never thought that he'd look into my eyes to tell me that he was in love with another woman and wanted a divorce. Mrs. Frost? Fiona called outside the door. Like the big girl that I was, I got off the floor, wiped off my tears, and went out to answer the door with a smile on my face like I usually do. I took deep breaths as I went out of the bathroom and opened the door. Yes, Fiona? Good morning. Good morning, ma'am. You have a guest downstairs, she informed me. I was stunned for a moment that I could have a guest early this morning, especially today when I was not in the mood to socialize. But I put on a big girl smile and pretended that I was delighted to hear the news. Tell my guest that I will be joining them in a minute. All right, Mrs. Frost. I will do that. Fiona left, and I closed the door and took a deep breath. I didn't want to break down before I met the guest. I went to the bathroom and took a quick shower. I went back to the bedroom, did a quite simple makeup touch-up with a nice dress, and brushed my hair. When I felt the urge to tie it all into a bun, I remembered that Sebastian always said that I looked more beautiful with my hair loose. I then let it loose, got up, and headed downstairs. Oh hey, Sienna. Anastasia got up from her chair as I walked into the sitting room. Oh, Anna. It's you. I didn't know what to say as she wrapped her arms around me and kissed my cheek. Girl, you look stunning. She complimented me as we sat down on our chairs. I couldn't help but wonder what the H she was doing in my house. Her face was the last thing that I wanted to see after my husband mentioned her name countless times last night while he was with me. It felt as if she came to gloat that she had managed to take my husband away from me. It wasn't enough that she had her own husband. You look great too, Anna. What brings you here? She embraced her tummy. Didn't Sebastian tell you the news? What news? My heart literally dropped when I realized that she was hinting about her pregnancy and Sebastian didn't tell me. Not that he had to, but still. I am 7 weeks pregnant. She beamed. Oh my gosh, Anna. That is great news. When did you announce it? Sebi came by the house last night and my husband and I could not wait to share the news with him. She smiled. She looked so happy. I envied her. I am so happy for you, Anna. I am sure Samuel is very thrilled about having an addition to your little family. He is very happy. And speaking of a little family, when are you and Sebi thinking of having your own child? I looked away and cleared my throat. I don't think that's ever going to happen. Oh, she reacted. Why? Because we are getting divorced, I just had to blurt it out. The room was silent for an awkward minute before Anastasia broke the silence. Oh wow. That's a wow. What happened? My husband called your name while his D was inside me. But no, I could not say that now, could I? Instead, I got up from my chair and made it clear to her that I was not in the mood for a talk. I'm sorry, Anna. But I need some time to myself. Of course, I understand. I can't imagine what you're going through. It must be difficult going through a divorce. I hope it doesn't involve another woman. I swallowed and just stared at her, not knowing how to respond to her statement. She got up from her chair. You guys were so happy together, all those trips and vacations you took. I couldn't help but notice how much he was into you. It's so sad that you are now getting divorced. She flashed me a sympathetic smile. It was so funny how those trips and vacations that she was talking about, she was there in third wheeling in our marriage. I hardly had time with my husband because she was there. Everywhere that he went, she was there and being the little perfect missy that got him obsessed over her. Thank you, Anna, for your kind words, but you should know that he is still very much into me. We just realized that we want different things, and that doesn't mean it involves another woman. I smiled at her. She chuckled softly. Well, if you are so sure about that, no worries. Anyway, I hope you find love and complement each other. She gave me a quick hug and left. I stood there like a statue and couldn't believe everything that she said. It sounded as if she knew what conspired the divorce, and I felt my heart breaking. It was crystal clear that I had lost Sebastian, and there was nothing that I could do to bring him back. I headed upstairs to my room and sobbed after closing the door. It started to sink in that I was getting divorced from the only man that I had ever loved and wanted to be with all my life. There was no one else for me but Sebastian, and the thought of us never being together tore my heart. When the divorce papers finally came, I sat down on the couch in the bedroom and read it. Sebastian was giving me $1 billion as a divorce settlement. I scoffed when I realized that he was paying me off for being his substitute wife and not because I deserved that amount. He was feeling sorry for me. After everything that happened and how we met, I never thought that I'd wake up and see the hate in his eyes when I confronted him about last night. He was a different man than the one I knew the night we first met. I guess I was dumb and naive to think that he could be the one for me. Now I have to start from scratch. I sent Sebastian a text to keep his money and that I was not going to need it. After I was done, I packed all my clothes, signed the divorce papers, and left. I didn't know where I was going as I drove through the rainy weather, crying and wishing that this happened way earlier before I fell in love with him. I wondered if he was going to be happy now that I was out of his life and was no longer going to remind him of the woman that he could never call his own. I wondered if he was ever going to realize that I was the only woman who loved him regardless of everything that he had to offer me. I wondered if he was ever going to look back and wish that he could turn back the hands of time. The traffic lights were turning green when I started driving and didn't realize that there was a car coming on my side, and before I knew it, there was a big crash. I opened my eyes as I slipped in and out of consciousness, and when I heard someone opening the vehicle door, I blacked out.